Hello, everyone. Dr. Victoria Skirbo here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. And we're going to talk about the Astrology and Kabbalah of June 2020. And I picked this picture because I think it sort of represents where we are sort of standing at this moment. Everything that we've known has sort of moved away from us. The reality that we have sort of always had about us seems to have moved out to sea, so to speak. And we stand on the shore looking out at the distant water, wondering what it's going to be like when it comes back. There's a sense of aloneness. There's a sense of isolation in this picture. But there's also a sense of peace, which I really like. And through this whole experience with the pandemic, and the stay-at-home orders and all of that, I personally have felt a deep sense of peace, which you might not think is the thing, but there's a part of me that likes quarantine. There's a part of me that thinks the way the world is going was not in a good direction. And now we have an opportunity to sort of re-up and restart. And, you know, there are some people who want things to get back to normal. There are some people who don't want that at all. And somewhere in between there is, I think, what we're going to have. So let's take a look at this. So if we look at the numerology of June, we look at the vibration of the month, which is 6, and the vibration of the universal year, which is 4. 6 is the number of responsibility and service that needs to be done with love and protection, a desire to bring harmony, peace, justice, and truth into all experiences. Now, I'm doing this at the end of May, but at this moment, in the United States at least, there's a lot of sort of tumult between those people who feel we need to sort of be responsible to one another and protect ourselves and protect others. And there are those who feel like they have to, that their freedoms are being pressed upon and that they need to do what the heck they want to do. And then we also have in Minneapolis, another Black man was killed in police custody. It was a minor infraction, and there's a video of a police officer kneeling on this man's throat. And the man saying, "I cannot breathe," right? Interesting, breathing has to do with the lungs, and the lungs have to do with Gemini. And we have Venus retrograde in Gemini at this time, and the North Node in Gemini. So one of the things that we have to learn how to do through all of this stuff is to continue to breathe, okay? Then we have the number 4, and the 4, which is the year vibration, crisis and opportunity, right? It is also the number of stability and structure on the material plane. So these two energies taken sort of separately but together, we have this energy of being responsible and in service to one another, bringing love and protection and harmony and peace and justice and truth. And then the 4 asking us to build the foundations and the structures needed so that that can actually become a reality, that can actually manifest. If we add these two vibrations together, we get the 10 vibration, or the 10-1. The 10-1, according to Jean, the numerologist Jean, is the number of justice for all. It is a number of opportunity for change. It's also a number of crisis. And it is the number of change, initiative and change. 1 of the 10-1 is the point of awareness, and 0 is the God force. So this is us becoming aware of something. It's like a new beginning, sort of hoisted up by the God force. And when you bring the God force into it, it raises the vibration. And so we need to be in this experience from a higher perspective. The 10-1 vibration is connected to the Wheel of Fortune card. The ruling planet of this particular card is Jupiter. And of course, Jupiter is in Capricorn. Jupiter is retrograde. The Kabbalistic or Hebrew letter associated with this is Kaf, meaning palm. This means we have our fate or our fortune in the palm of our hand. And to a certain extent we do. What we do with our hands, also ruled by Gemini, has a lot to do with, you know, how we choose. Do we want to is this how we want to use our hands and like punch people? Or do we want to open our hands and pull people in, right? It's also associated with luck, because Jupiter is considered very lucky. In fact, the Wheel of Fortune is sometimes seen as a wheel that you spin to see if your number comes up and you're lucky enough to win, right? It also has to do with cycles and life cycles. And it also is a number of major karmic events. There is going to be a change of fortune. So those at the top are destined for the bottom, and those for the bottom are destined for the top. And they will be there, and then that will change again, and so the wheel goes. So this is another picture of a Wheel of Fortune card. This is from the Thoth deck. I like this picture because you can see the movement inherent in the Wheel of Fortune. It's not a static thing with this sort of swirling energy. This swirling energy is very similar to the energy that we see in Kether, which is the top Sephiroth associated with the crown chakra. It's the place of all the aces, so it is a one. There's a one in that energy, and it's called the whirlings, right? But we can see here that this circle, this wheel, that if you're on the outside of the wheel, you actually could get quite dizzy, right? Or you could actually get thrown right off if the wheel is spinning fast enough. But if you can find the center of the wheel and experience life from the center as an observer of the ups and downs and the spinning of the wheel, that's the place where you can find internal poise. And as it being a one vibration, right? 1 plus 0 equals 1. It really is about being centered through this. In fact, it almost looks like the symbol for the sun. If you take the spokes out and just have the center here, and there's actually a little sun in the middle there, and then the circle around it, this is the circle of spirit and the point of awareness. So this is from the deck from The Tower of the Spirit by Pamela Eakins. This is what she puts as when you get the Wheel of Fortune card in a reading. It says, your fate is changing, rising or falling. Stay balanced through these changes. You are responsible for your own state. Whatever you are seeking without is a manifestation of your desire to understand your own inner spirit. The ultimate goal is to stay balanced in heart, mind, spirit, and body through all the upward and downward moments of life, or movements of life, both, right? Okay. So this is about, no matter what's going on, finding that center point of poise. Now, the Wheel of Fortune card and the path that it sits on is again associated with the planet Jupiter. Jupiter right now is retrograde in Capricorn. At the end of the month, on the 30th of June, Jupiter makes its second conjunction to Pluto. It's going to be at 25 degrees of Capricorn. That's the exact degree that the first one happened, and the first one happened back on April 4th, if you're wondering. And there's going to be a third one that happens on November, I think it's November 12th. And that one is going to be at 23 degrees of Capricorn, which is the exact degree of the Pluto-Saturn conjunction that occurred in January. So there's almost like the beginning and the end of a sentence somehow. It's like there's like parentheses around 2020. And what we do in this parentheses is going to determine what our future looks like. The Hebrew letter here is Kaf, meaning palm. This is the path that connects Hesed, or the Sephiroth of mercy, with Netzach, the Sephiroth of victory. Hesed means mercy, and Netzach means victory. The path is found in the pillar of mercy, or the pillar of the past, So all the energy of this month along this path has to do with the past. And it's interesting because there's a lot of retrograde planets this month. We have Pluto retrograde, we have Saturn retrograde, we have Jupiter retrograde, we have Pallas retrograde, we have Venus retrograde, and we will have Mercury retrograde later in June. So there's a lot of internal, it is a lot of like review. And what do we review? We review the past. This could be this past, this could be past lives. So we can expect that energy to be seen and to be felt and to be hopefully understood. This path connects the throat chakra, Vishuddha, with the solar plexus, Manipura, and this path connects divine will with personal will. So on a certain level, we are in this month to be crystal clear channels of spirit, allowing spirit will to work through our personal will, to initiate new ways of being, new ways of bringing harmony and protection and love and responsibility, and the structures that will help to support that. So we can do that within ourselves, okay, within our own lives. How do we support our own sense of poise? How do we support our own sense of feeling, being responsible for ourselves and our reactions and our responses to life, and how we are responsible for how we interact with others? And do we bring peace? Do we bring harmony into a situation, or do we bring something else? And then how do we sustain that? What kind of things do we need to build into our lives to sustain that poise? Okay, here we have the Tree of Life. And as I said, this is the path that's being activated with the 10-1. It's right here. It connects the 5th chakra with the 3rd chakra. It connects Hesed with Netzach. This is the Sephiroth of Jupiter. Jupiter's retrograde. This is the Sephiroth of Venus. Venus is retrograde in the pillar of the past. Okay, initiating something new through change, in some cases radical change. This is Manipura. This is the solar plexus chakra. It is located sort of right in the center of our, you can't see, I'm not tall enough, like right here, right under our diaphragm, like right over our stomach. And its element is fire. It's where things break down. It's sort of the furnace of the body. It's sort of a mini sun, really. It shines like the sun, and it's a center of, this is who I am, this is what I want, this is my will be done, right? Personal will. And so for some people, this is very familiar place, and for other people, it's a place that is familiar in all the wrong ways. So when you have energy in this particular chakra, especially like if your vibrations sort of fall in the chakra, it's important that you have a good relationship with your will. This can be empowering, or there can be abuse of power here. Donald Trump's soul vibration, which is a 16-7, which is the Tower card, is located completely in this chakra. So this is where he comes from. And for those of you who get a stomach ache every time you hear him talk, now you know why. It's all will. It's like, my will be done, not connected to the higher chakras. In fact, his shadow is in his 3rd eye. So he doesn't see what he's doing. He doesn't have the foresight. He just does it. It's just complete instinctual will. And this chakra is part of the earthly chakras. So this is about the earthly stuff, right? Now we have the next chakra. This is Vishuddha, purification. This is the throat chakra. And the element here, whereas the element in Manipura was fire, the element here is sound. And this is where we co-create with the universe through sound. And so it's very important what we say to people. It's very important the things that are coming out of our mouth. What are we, vibrating? What are we vibrating out? Okay. What are we co-creating? It is located in Hesed, And so Hesed is mercy, and it's a place of kindness. It's the place of Jupiter, right? So we need to say things kindly, but it's also a place where we have a tendency to say yes because we feel obligated to say yes when we really don't want to do things. And so for some people, it's about actually saying yes and being willing to be generous of heart. And for others, it's about saying no and being generous to themselves. So it depends on what side of the sort of empathic, narcissistic pole you're on. You know, empathy and narcissism are kind of on the opposite poles. And we're in a time of great extreme. And so you're going to see all the empaths sort of on one side and all the narcissists on the other. But that awareness of the extremes will eventually bring us to center, because the empath has to realize that they're worth something in their own self. It's not just about giving. And the narcissist has to learn that it's not just all about them. And they have to start the empath has to learn how to take. The narcissist has to learn how to give. And it's as if we're being pulled tight, and eventually it'll be let go like a rubber band, and it'll come back. It'll do this kind of thing until we get to another sort of level. The 25th path, connecting Hesed to Netzach, is called a conciliating intelligence, that which balances emotions and evens out personality. The essence of this path is that you are the master of all conditions and circumstances. Doesn't matter what happens to you. How you react and respond to it is up to you. And the mystery associated with this path is that the whole of experience is necessary. So we all have to experience what is, perceived as good and what is perceived as bad. And even that good and bad is just a perception, right? Okay. And here we have the tree of life. And we can see we have Hesed here, the planet Jupiter, mercy, right? Jupiter's retrograde in Capricorn. Here's the path, the 10-1 path. There's the Wheel of Fortune card. And here is Netzach, associated with Venus. Netzach means victory. Venus is what we value, what's essential in our lives. In the tree of life, Netzach, the solar plexus is made up of Netzach, the Tower card, and Hod. This is the sort of mental side of things, the brain, logical mind, and this is the emotions and the feelings. And so with this being activated, there's a lot of emotions, and most of those emotions come from our past experiences, because we're in the pillar of the past here. And so we will have access to past, we'll have access to our memories, we'll have access to our past lives. If you happen to be able to connect with the Akashic records, which actually sit right here on the tree of life, if you can raise your vibration high enough, you can get a lot of information coming through. And there are people who can do that and are trained to do that. So I am not trained. Okay, so I'll be back with the astrology. I want to separate this into two readings. So I'll be back with this. There's a lot of astrology happening.